The stars looked different from this far out. Commander Kate Ellis stood on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, Earth's most advanced ship and the first to use the new faster-than-light drive. After decades of theory and testing, humans had finally broken the light barrier. Now, just 3 months after their first successful test, they were on a diplomatic mission beyond the solar system. "Commander, we're picking up signals," Lieutenant John Nelson said from his station. His eyes widened as data streamed across his screen. Multiple ships, very big ships. Kate took a deep breath. This was it. First contact. Real aliens, not just radio signals or theories. "All hands ready," she said calmly, though her heart raced. "Remember your training." The alien ships appeared suddenly, as if they had blinked into existence. There were 7 of them, each at least 4 times larger than the horizon. They glowed with strange blue light and moved with impossible grace. "They're hailing us," John said. "Open the channel," Kate ordered. The screen lit up to show a being that looked almost like a tall human, but with purple skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and completely black. "Greetings, humans," it said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Trell of the Galactic Confederacy. We have been watching your world for some time." The next few days were a blur of meetings and information exchange. The Confederacy explained that they were an alliance of 27 different alien species who had been sharing the galaxy for thousands of years. They seemed friendly and offered to share technology and knowledge with Earth. But something didn't feel right to Kate. During a dinner with several alien representatives, she noticed they asked many questions about Earth's defenses and resources, but shared little about their own. Later that night, John knocked on her quarters. "Commander, I've been analyzing their communication patterns," he said quietly. "There are hidden signals being sent whenever we discuss our technology. I think they're worried about us." Kate frowned. Why would advanced aliens worry about humans? "Our FTL drive," John explained. "I compared notes with Dr. Peterson. Our approach is completely different from theirs. They seem surprised by how quickly we developed it." The next day, Kate convinced the aliens to give them a tour of their main ship. The technology was amazing, but she noticed something strange. Most of their systems seemed designed for stability, not innovation. As they passed what looked like a meeting room, Kate heard raised voices. She couldn't understand the words, but one phrase was translated by her earpiece. "Containment protocol." That night, she called her senior officers together. "I think we may be in danger," she told them. "From what I can gather, the Confederacy doesn't like new species developing too quickly. They see us as a potential threat." "That's crazy," said engineer Sam Rodriguez. "We just got here. We're centuries behind them." "Maybe that's what worries them," John suggested. "How fast we're catching up." Their fears were confirmed when Kate secretly accessed the ship's sensors and detected weapons being charged on the alien vessels. "Prepare for emergency departure," she ordered, quietly. The ESS Horizon slipped away hours later, while most of the alien delegation was attending a staged reception. They were halfway back to Earth when alarms blared. 3 Confederacy ships in pursuit, John reported. "They're charging weapons." "Evasive maneuvers," Kate ordered. "Sam, we need maximum power to the FTL drive." Sam nodded. "It's not designed for this kind of jump, but I'll make it work." The ship shuddered as alien energy beams grazed their shields. Warning lights flashed across every console. "Now, Sam," Kate shouted. The stars blurred and stretched as the horizon jumped to speeds never tested before. Alarms screamed as hull plates creaked under the strain, but the ship held together. When they finally dropped back to normal space, the alien ships were gone. "Set course for Earth," Kate said grimly. "We need to warn them. The aliens aren't coming as friends." As the horizon limped home, Kate stared at the stars. Humanity had just made its entrance onto the galactic stage, and their welcome had been anything but friendly. They would need to prepare, because the aliens would surely follow. And next time, they wouldn't come with diplomats. 6 months passed after the ESS Horizon's narrow escape. Earth prepared as best it could. Military forces trained day and night. Scientists worked without sleep. But everyone knew it wouldn't be enough if the aliens came in force. Admiral Frank Murphy stood in the Global Defense Center beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens showed the sudden appearance of over 50 massive ships in Earth orbit. His stomach sank as reports came in from monitoring stations worldwide. "They're bigger than we expected," said the officer next to him. "Our weapons might not even scratch them." Frank nodded grimly. "Get me the president." Within an hour, leaders from all major nations gathered in an emergency video meeting. As they spoke, the alien ships held position, making no aggressive moves yet. "We need more time," said the Chinese premier. "Our lunar defenses are only half complete." The Russian president shook her head. They wouldn't come with so many ships just to talk. The screen suddenly flickered, and an alien face appeared. It was purple-skinned with 4 arms and entirely black eyes. "People of Earth," it said, "I am High Executor Zix Valor of the Galactic Confederacy. Your ship invaded our space and stole our technology. This cannot be allowed." Frank muttered to his aide, "That's a lie." Commander Ellis reported. "Silence," said Zix Valor, somehow hearing him. "We have monitored your world for centuries. You developed too quickly. You are too aggressive. You cannot be trusted with advanced technology." The alien's face was replaced by images of Earth's wars, pollution, and violence. "We offer you protection," Zix Valor continued. "Surrender your faster-than-light technology. Accept Confederate oversight. Become a protected species under our guidance." Protected status, they soon learned, meant humans would be restricted to Earth and a few nearby planets. No independent space travel, no advanced weapons. Earth would provide resources and labor to the Confederacy in exchange for protection. After the transmission ended, arguments broke out among Earth's leaders. "We should accept," said the European president. "Look at their ships. We can't win a fight." "It would be slavery," objected the African Union representative. "They want our planet, not our friendship." While the leaders debated, Dr. Olivia Ward worked frantically in her lab at MIT. As one of the scientists who helped develop Earth's FTL drive, she had been studying the data from the ESS Horizon's encounter. "Look at this," she told her assistant, pointing to energy readings. "Their shields flicker when they use their communication systems. It's brief, but it's a weakness." She sent her findings to Admiral Murphy, who was still in the mountain bunker. "Can we exploit this?" he asked when he called her. "Maybe," Olivia said, "but we need time and more data." Frank brought this information to the Emergency Council. "We need to stall," he explained. "Accept their terms for now, while we prepare." The vote was close, but Earth officially accepted the Confederacy's terms 3 days later. Zix Valor seemed pleased as the alien ships took positions around Earth. They established bases on the Moon and Mars within weeks. Commander Kate Ellis, now working directly with Admiral Murphy, watched the alien ships from a hidden base in the asteroid belt. "They think we've given up," she said. Frank nodded. "That's what we want them to think." Earth appeared to comply with all Confederate demands. They handed over FTL research, dismantled military satellites, and accepted alien advisors in major cities. But underground, in secret bases and hidden labs, humans prepared. Dr. Ward refined her discovery about alien shield weaknesses. Engineers built smaller, stealthier ships. Soldiers trained for zero-gravity combat. "How long can we keep this up?" Kate asked one night, looking at reports of Confederate ships taking Earth resources. "As long as we need to," Frank replied. "They think they've won. They think humans give up easily." He looked at the star map showing Confederate positions. "That's their first mistake. We've faced bad odds before. Through our whole history, humans have been underdogs." Kate smiled slightly. "And we're pretty good at surprising those who underestimate us." What the aliens didn't understand was that humans had been telling stories about alien invasions for centuries. They had been preparing, in their minds, for this moment. And unlike the Confederacy, humans knew what it meant to fight when all seemed lost. 3 months into Earth's protected status, the aliens had settled into a rhythm. They believed humans were obedient and scared. Every week, Earth governments handed over resources and followed Confederate rules. Alien officials walked through human cities with pride, thinking they had tamed the dangerous species. They were wrong. Commander Kate Ellis crouched in the shadows of the Confederate outpost on Mars. Next to her, Engineer Sam Rodriguez checked his oxygen meter. 15 minutes of air left, he whispered. We need to move. Kate nodded and signaled to the 4 other team members. They had trained for months for this mission. Their suits were designed to hide from alien sensors, using technology Dr. Ward had developed by studying Confederate equipment. The team slipped through a service entrance. 2 alien guards stood nearby, but they were looking at a screen, laughing at something. Kate noticed how the aliens always followed the same patrol routes, never varying their patterns. Predictable, she thought. That's something we can use. Inside the base, Sam connected a small device to their computer system. It began copying data while staying hidden from security programs. Kate watched as alien workers moved through their tasks with perfect order. None of them seemed to check for anything unusual or unexpected. Different psychology, Kate noted in her recorder. They don't seem to look for trouble if none is expected. In the main control room, behind a locked door, alien officers discussed Earth. The humans are adapting well to protection, one said. Much better than the Drelexa did. They have no choice, another replied. Their weapons are primitive. They know resistance would be suicide. Kate smiled behind her mask. The aliens had no idea that humans were building new weapons right under their noses, in underground facilities and hidden ocean bases. Sam signaled that the download was complete. As they prepared to leave, an alarm suddenly blared. Not for them. A meteorite had hit nearby, triggering automated systems. What happened next confirmed Kate's theories about alien behavior. The Confederate soldiers followed emergency protocols exactly, moving to specific positions in a fixed order. None adapted to the situation or checked for other threats. Their response was perfect but inflexible. The team escaped easily during the confusion, taking valuable data back to Earth. In the weeks that followed, similar missions gathered more intelligence. Humans learned that the Confederacy had 3 key weaknesses. First, they couldn't handle rapid change. Their minds worked methodically and became confused when plans needed sudden adjustment. Second, they didn't understand creativity under pressure. When faced with problems, they followed established procedures rather than inventing new solutions. Third, they had no concept of bluffing. They assumed all information was either true or false, never considering that someone might deliberately mislead them. Admiral Murphy used these insights to develop a new strategy. Small, fast ships were built in secret, designed to strike Confederate supply lines, and then disappear. Pilots were trained to fight unpredictably, changing tactics frequently to confuse alien commanders. The first attack came 6 months into the occupation. 3 human ships hit a Confederate fuel transport near Jupiter, then vanished into the asteroid belt before the aliens could respond. The aliens sent a standard search pattern that found nothing. They're looking for where we should be, Lieutenant John Nelson explained during the mission debriefing. Not where we might be. A week later, 5 more ships struck another target, then another. Each time, the Confederate response was predictable and easy to evade. In their hidden command center, Admiral Murphy showed Kate a map of recent attacks. They think these are random, he said. They don't see the pattern because it doesn't make conventional military sense. Kate nodded. That's the advantage of asymmetric warfare. We're not playing by their rulebook. On a screen nearby, they watched a Confederate announcement condemning terrorist actions by human extremists. The alien spokesman promised increased security and harsher restrictions. "They still think this is just a small resistance," Kate said. "Good," Murphy replied. "Let them keep thinking that while we build our real fleet." Across Earth, in secret facilities, humans prepared for the real fight. The aliens had stacked the deck against humanity, but they had missed something important. Humans had been underdogs throughout their entire history, and they knew how to beat impossible odds. 1 year into the occupation, Dr. Olivia Ward stood in her underground lab examining alien communication devices. Next to her, Dr. Alan Garcia adjusted his glasses and typed notes into a computer. "Listen to this," Olivia said, playing a recording of Confederate signals. "They used the same patterns over and over." Alan nodded. "No encryption changes. No randomness. It's like they never expect anyone to crack their codes." The two scientists had been working day and night to understand Confederate technology. Their breakthrough came when they realized the aliens valued consistency over security. Every ship in the Confederate fleet used identical communication systems. "If we can mimic their signals," Olivia explained to Admiral Murphy later that day, "we can send false orders to their ships." Murphy smiled for the first time in months. "How soon?" "2 weeks," she promised. Meanwhile, Lieutenant John Nelson led a special team on a mission that would have seemed impossible a year ago. Using the new signal technology, they approached a Confederate battlecruiser near Saturn. Confederate vessel Zix 417. "This is command," John transmitted, using the aliens' exact communication patterns. "Prepare for inspection team." The alien ship responded exactly as expected, lowering shields in a specific section. John's team, in a small shuttle disguised with Confederate markings, docked without resistance. Once aboard, they faced their biggest challenge. The aliens would recognize humans immediately, but Dr. Ward had studied Confederate biology and made another discovery. The aliens had poor vision in certain light spectrums. John's team wore special suits that emitted light frequencies invisible to humans, but blinding to the aliens. To the Confederate crew, they appeared only as bright, hazy figures, easily mistaken for their own kind in the confusion. The team moved quickly through the ship, placing small devices on key systems. Within 20 minutes, they had control of the battlecruiser's main computer. The alien crew, following standard emergency protocols, gathered in central areas, making them easy to contain. Back on Earth, humans discovered another advantage. Confederate soldiers struggled with Earth's gravity and atmosphere. While humans had evolved on a challenging planet with changing conditions, the aliens came from worlds with stable environments. Their bodies couldn't adapt quickly to different pressures, temperatures, or oxygen levels. Human resistance fighters could operate in harsh conditions that left Confederate troops weakened or confused. Mountain bases, desert outposts, and underwater facilities became human strongholds the aliens couldn't effectively attack. The psychological impact was even greater. Confederate commanders couldn't predict human actions because humans didn't follow logical patterns during crisis. When faced with overwhelming odds, humans became more creative, not less. They took risks alien minds considered irrational. "They don't understand us," Kate told her team after a successful raid on a Confederate supply depot. "They think we'll calculate the odds and surrender when we can't win. They don't realize that's when we fight hardest." High Executor Zix Valor grew increasingly frustrated. Reports from Earth showed mounting losses with no clear explanation. In a rage, he ordered stricter controls on human movement and activities. Curfews were imposed. Resources were restricted. Punishment for resistance became more severe. But these harsh measures only strengthened human resolve. Underground networks spread. More people joined the resistance. Information flowed despite Confederate efforts to control communication. In secret labs, Confederate scientists studied human behavior, trying to understand their unexpected resistance. They conducted experiments and analyzed data, searching for the key to controlling these unpredictable beings. Humans appear to become more dangerous when threatened, one report concluded. This defies rational response patterns seen in all other known species. Zix Valor threw the report across the room in frustration. They are primitive, he insisted to his advisors. They cannot defeat us. It is scientifically impossible. One advisor, who had spent more time studying humans, spoke carefully. Perhaps that is why they succeed, Executor. They do not believe in impossible. Across the solar system, the hijacked Confederate battlecruiser received a new name from its human crew, Hope. It became the flagship of a growing rebel fleet that the aliens still didn't know existed. And aboard it, Lieutenant Nelson prepared for the next phase of a war the Confederacy thought they had already won. 18 months into the occupation, Commander Kate Ellis sat in a secret meeting room beneath the old city of Cairo. Across from her was not a human, but an alien. It had blue skin with green spots and 4 eyes that blinked in pairs. "My people were like yours once," the alien said in a raspy voice. "Free until the Confederacy came." The alien called itself Kith Mora, leader of the Drelexa resistance. The Drelexa had been conquered 50 years earlier and forced to serve the Confederacy. They had been fighting back ever since, with little success. "We know much about Confederate systems," Kith Mora continued, "but we lack your creativity." Kate smiled. "And we could use your knowledge." This unexpected alliance changed everything. The Drelexa knew the Confederacy's weaknesses from the inside. They understood the politics between different alien species in the Confederacy. Most importantly, they confirmed what humans had begun to suspect. Not all Confederate species agreed with the harsh treatment of Earth. Admiral Murphy immediately saw the opportunity. "If we can turn them against each other," he told his officers, "we won't have to defeat them all." The humans learned from Kith Mora that the Confederacy included both dominant and subordinate species. Some had been forced to join, just like the Drelexa. Others had joined for protection. Very few actually made the important decisions. "The Zix control everything," Kith Mora explained, referring to High Executor Zix Valor's species. "They fear any threat to their power. That is why they fear humans." With this knowledge, Earth launched Operation Trojan Horse. Using the communication technology developed by Dr. Ward, they sent false messages between Confederate ships and bases. Some messages suggested certain species were secretly meeting with humans. Others implied the Zix were planning to reduce the status of other Confederate members. "We're not trying to win battles," Admiral Murphy explained to his commanders. "We're trying to break their alliance." The strategy worked better than anyone expected. Confederate ships began requesting verification codes from each other. Species that had worked together for centuries grew suspicious. Security increased, slowing down Confederate operations. Resources were diverted to internal monitoring rather than controlling Earth. Meanwhile, engineer Sam Rodriguez made another breakthrough. Studying Confederate environmental systems, he developed a way for humans to tolerate extreme conditions even better than the aliens themselves. Special suits allowed human fighters to operate in the vacuum of space for longer periods, or in the crushing pressure of Venus's atmosphere, where Confederate troops couldn't follow. Kith Mora helped human ships navigate to other Confederate-controlled worlds. There, they made contact with more subjugated species. Some were hesitant, but many saw humans as a chance for their own freedom. On Mars, Confederate officials noticed unusual meetings between species that normally avoided each other. When they investigated, they found nothing concrete, just rumors and whispers about humans making deals with various Confederate members. High Executor Zix Valor received reports of these disturbances and grew increasingly paranoid. He ordered loyal Zix commanders to monitor other species in the Confederacy. This only created more tension and suspicion. "They do not trust each other now," Kith Mora told Kate with satisfaction. "The Confederacy has stood for 1,000 years because of unity. Humans have cracked that unity in less than 2 years." The strategy reached its peak when representatives from 3 major Confederate species secretly contacted Earth to discuss separate peace terms. They had concluded that the cost of fighting humans was too high, and the Zix leadership was becoming unstable. At a Confederate Council meeting, these species formally proposed ending the occupation of Earth. They argued that humans could be valuable allies rather than subjects. The Zix representatives reacted with outrage, accusing the others of treason. For the first time in centuries, the Confederate Council was divided on a major decision. Some called for increasing military pressure on Earth. Others suggested negotiation. Back on Earth, Admiral Murphy received news of the Council's division with satisfaction. "An empire falls from within," he told Kate, "not from without." Kate nodded. "We've turned their greatest strength against them. They thought 27 species would overwhelm us. Instead, we've shown that 27 different opinions are harder to manage than one united human voice." The tide was turning. Humans hadn't won yet, but they had changed the game entirely. 2 years into the occupation, High Executor Zix Valor made a desperate move. With the Confederacy divided and his authority weakening, he sent a massive force to establish a permanent military base on Mars. Over 30 ships arrived, carrying thousands of soldiers and heavy equipment. This would no longer be just an observation post, but a fortress to control the entire solar system. Colonel Lisa Chen watched from a hidden base beneath the Martian surface as alien ships landed. She had been leading the Mars resistance for months, working with both human settlers and friendly Drelexa. "They're building something big," she reported to Admiral Murphy via secure channel. "This isn't just another outpost." Murphy's face looked grim on the small screen. "We can't let them establish a stronghold in our system. It's time for Planned Thunderstrike." Planned Thunderstrike was risky. Until now, humans had used guerrilla tactics, never directly challenging Confederate forces. But the Mars base changed everything. If completed, it would detect all hidden human operations in the solar system. Lisa gathered her forces, 300 human fighters and 50 Drelexa allies. They had limited weapons but knew the Martian terrain perfectly. The Confederate troops were still setting up their base defenses, following their standard procedures without variation. "They'll finish the sensor array in 3 days," Lisa told her team. "We move tonight." On Earth, Dr. Ward worked frantically to complete her most ambitious project. For months, she had studied the physics behind Confederate faster-than-light drives. Now she believed she could disrupt them temporarily. "It won't destroy their ships," she explained to Admiral Murphy, "but it will prevent them from jumping away or calling reinforcements." Murphy nodded. "How long will the effect last?" 12 hours at most. After that, the system resets itself." "That's our window then," Murphy said. "Colonel Chen will need every minute." That night, as Confederate troops followed their rigid shift schedules, Lisa's forces approached the half-built Mars base from 12 different directions. They used the natural caves and tunnels beneath the Martian surface, passages the aliens hadn't bothered to map. At exactly midnight Earth time, Dr. Ward activated her disruption device. Across the solar system, Confederate ship commanders suddenly found their FTL systems offline. Emergency protocols activated, but no one could jump to hyperspace. At the same moment, Lisa's team struck. They emerged from hidden entrances inside and around the base. The Confederate troops, trained for conventional warfare, were confused by attackers appearing where no attackers should be. Lisa led the main assault herself, targeting the command center. Wearing the advanced environmental suits Sam Rodriguez had designed, her soldiers moved faster and stayed stronger than the aliens, who struggled in the Martian environment. "Remember, disable communications first," Lisa ordered over the team channel. "Don't let them coordinate." The Confederate officers, following standard emergency protocols, gathered in central defensive positions, exactly where Lisa expected them. Within 2 hours, her forces controlled the main systems. By dawn, the entire base was in human hands. Similar attacks happened simultaneously across the solar system. Human and Drelexa forces captured or disabled Confederate outposts on moons and asteroids. With FTL communications down, Each alien base had to fight alone. In orbit around Jupiter, Lieutenant John Nelson commanded the captured battlecruiser Hope, leading a small fleet of ships against Confederate forces. The aliens still had superior firepower, but without coordination, they couldn't use it effectively. On the Confederate capital world, High Executor Zix Valor received the emergency reports with growing horror. Not only was he losing control of Earth's solar system, but news of the defeats spread quickly through the Confederacy. The Confederate Special Committee called an emergency session. After hours of heated debate, they voted to withdraw all forces from Earth immediately. The occupation had become too costly, both in resources and political unity. When Zix Valor heard the committee's decision, he slammed his 4 fists on the table. "Impossible," he shouted. "Humans are primitive. They cannot defeat us. I will not accept retreat." His closest advisors exchanged worried glances. The High Executor was losing control. Some quietly began contacting military commanders directly, bypassing Zix Valor's authority. Back on Mars, Colonel Lisa Chen watched Confederate ships retreating from the Solar. Murphy's voice came back clear and confident. "Well done, Colonel. But this isn't over yet. Zix Valor won't accept defeat easily." Lisa nodded, looking at the stars. "Then we'll have to make him accept it." High Executor Zix Valor refused to accept the committee's decision to withdraw from Earth. Instead, he gathered ships loyal to him and declared that any species supporting humans were traitors to the Confederacy. His actions split the once mighty alliance into 2 factions: those who followed Zix Valor and those who believed cooperation with humans was better than endless war. The Confederacy's civil war had begun. On Earth, Admiral Murphy received reports of alien battles happening across multiple star systems. "This is our chance," he told his officers. "While they fight each other, we strengthen our position." Earth forces quickly secured the entire solar system. Confederate technology captured during the occupation was studied and adapted. Dr. Ward and Dr. Garcia worked tirelessly to improve human ships and weapons. But Murphy knew they couldn't just watch from the sidelines. If Zix Valor wins their civil war, he'll return with even more hatred for humans. He explained to Earth's leaders, "We need to help those who want peace." Commander Kate Ellis and Kith Mora traveled to neutral systems, meeting with representatives from species who oppose Zix Valor. They formed a new alliance called the Galactic Coalition. Unlike the Confederacy, this alliance treated all members as equals. "Humans have proven that determination matters more than technology," Kate told the gathered representatives. "We don't want to rule anyone. We just want our rightful place among the stars." Meanwhile, engineer Sam Rodriguez made a discovery that would change everything. A Confederate mining colony was facing disaster as their planet's core became unstable. Using a combination of human ingenuity and alien technology, Sam developed a method to stabilize the planet. When news spread that humans had saved an alien world from destruction, more species began questioning Zix Valor's claims that humans were dangerous primitives who would destroy galactic civilization. 3 years after first contact, Earth had built a real fleet of advanced starships. Admiral Murphy stood on the bridge of the flagship Freedom, preparing for what might be the final battle of the war. Intelligence reports showed Zix Valor's forces gathering for a massive assault on a key coalition world. "This ends today," Murphy told his captains before the jump to lightspeed. "Zix Valor thinks he's facing the same humans from 3 years ago. He's wrong." The human fleet arrived just as Zix Valor's ships began their attack. His forces still outnumbered the humans, but now Earth vessels had shields and weapons nearly equal to Confederate technology. As the battle began, Lieutenant John Nelson led a special team on a daring mission. Using the stealth technology developed for Earth's resistance, they boarded Zix Valor's command ship. Their goal wasn't to destroy it, but to broadcast the truth across all frequencies. John's team reached the communication center and uploaded data, showing how Zix Valor had lied to his own people about humans. Evidence revealed his plan had always been to take Earth's resources, not protect the galaxy from human aggression. Across the battlefield, alien crews saw the proof for themselves. Ships began powering down weapons. Some turned against Zixfalor's command vessel. The High Executor raged at his officers as his fleet fell apart around him. In the end, his ship stood alone against the combined forces of humans and their allies. Still, he refused to surrender. "Prepare to board," Admiral Murphy ordered. "I want him alive to face justice from all the species he's wronged." 1 month later, representatives from 32 species gathered on Earth to sign the Coalition Charter. Humans, once considered primitives to be controlled, now stood as equals with ancient spacefaring civilizations. The new alliance promised cooperation based on respect rather than power. Commander Kate Ellis watched the signing ceremony with a sense of pride. "They thought they could push us down and keep us there," she said to Kith Morris standing beside her. "They didn't understand what humans do best." "What is that?" the alien asked. Kate smiled. "Rise up stronger after a fall." Across the galaxy, the story spread of how humans, despite having their odds stacked against them by the mighty Confederacy, had not only survived but thrived. Many species now sought human advisors, valuing their unique ability to find solutions where none seemed possible. And on distant worlds, when faced with seemingly impossible challenges, people of many species began asking a new question: what would humans do?